Cathedral in the Pines is celebrating 100 years of building and advancing the kingdom of God in Southeast Texas. What started in a storefront church now reaches around the corner and around the world. With the Spindletop Gusher in 1901 and the development of the petrochemical industry, the need for churches grew in Beaumont. Cathedral's story begins with Reverend Edgar and Desi Lee Ellison answering the call of God to establish a non-denominational church in 1918 named the Pentecostal Church. In 1929, evangelist Natalie Dawson came to Beaumont, holding a series of tent revivals from which the Full Gospel Church was started, eventually merging with the Pentecostal Church. What followed was a long line of pastors and congregants who continued with the vision begun by the Ellisons and completing 100 years of ministry. In 1933, Reverend George Hayes, desiring to strengthen and expand their mission program, brought our church into affiliation with the General Council of the Assemblies of God, changing the name to First Assembly of God. Although money was scarce during the Great Depression, a decision was made to purchase a house located at Avenue A and Wall Street for $1,500, with $25 down and $25 a month. The congregation then built a 40 by 60 foot one-story building, which would remain the location of worship until 1949. As World War II ended and troops were returning home, First Assembly of God continued to grow, building a new brick church at 895 Oakland Street under the leadership of Reverend Charles Oldenburg, who served as senior pastor for 10 years. 1970 was a pivotal year in our church history as Pastor Delmar and Gay Dabney accepted the pastorate of First Assembly of God. Under their leadership of 25 years, the church's name was changed to Cathedral in the Pines Christian Center, and Cathedral Christian School was founded. During those years, the church endured a devastating fire, and the present-day facility was built. Through the television program that aired daily, Coffee with Pastor Dabney, he moved Cathedral into the homes and hearts of Southeast Texas. In April of 2006, Randy and Suzanne Feldshaw, having resigned as senior pastors of Brownsville Assembly of God in Pensacola, Florida, accepted the senior pastorate of Cathedral in the Pines. Immediately, they set in motion a vision to continue facilitating a move to God, transforming a local church into an apostolic center, which brings transformation to an entire region.
Historical moments remind us not to despise the day of small beginnings, because small beginnings often lead us to places of enlargement. With Spindletop in 1901 and the church starting in 1918, little do people know then how far-reaching these two events would be. In Acts chapter 17, the Bible makes it clear that a man's time and place is decided by God and is connected to his destiny. And so we should never underestimate the power of the right person in the right place at the right time. As we look at the history of Cathedral, we see a long line of strong leadership. As the sitting pastor of Cathedral, I can feel the integrity and the strength of my forefathers. I appreciate their leadership and the legacy that they have passed down to me. A new beginning often finds its future in its past. Cathedral's reality today of regional transformation is the result of the seeds that were sown by Pastor Dabney's vision for a church of the city to pastor everyone in Beaumont. This is a story that has lasted 100 years. And as we follow the storyline of Cathedral, we see its Pentecostal roots, a great labor of love, and its vision to transform Southeast Texas. And that narrative continues today. And I am extremely honored to be a part of that story.
Over the last 12 years, from 2006 to 2018, including benevolence and home and foreign missions, Cathedral has given away over $6 million. As an apostolic center, Cathedral continues to be a presence-driven church, transforming its community through dynamic worship and preaching. Beaumont Revival School of Ministry. Not in my city, and racial reconciliation. United Aid of Southeast Texas, a newly formed disaster relief organization, 3 Hispanic churches under the leadership of Pastor Enrique Cabrera, and a host of in-house ministries. With a multi-generational perspective, Cathedral is committed to the mentoring process and to passing the torch to the next generation, as Paul said, guarding the good deposit that has been entrusted to you. For 100 years, a long line of pastors, staff members, and congregants have served faithfully to establish this great work. Though the faces have changed, the commitment to sacrifice and serve has not. Archived in heaven is the investment of those thousands who gave of their time, talent, and treasures to build this great work. We stand on the shoulders of our forefathers. Their labor of love will never be forgotten. Today, we are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses who are cheering for us and are depending on us to continue the vision which started in 1918. As our hearts are flooded with memories of our rich heritage, our spirits are lifted to envision the great potential of our future. With the honor we feel in celebrating 100 years of ministry comes the responsibility of ensuring our future. We should never underestimate the possibilities of a determined group of believers. Our best days are still ahead.
Vision makes the future possible. The vision of the Ellisons and the Dawsons 100 years ago is my reality today. And so to them and to all the others that worked so hard to build this church, I say thank you. We as a people are limited, not by our resources, but only by the distance of our vision. So I ask you 2 questions. How far can we see? And what will the next 100 years hold for this great work? We've been given a sacred trust. We have a responsibility to steward what has been entrusted to our care. We play a role in this narrative, and our forefathers are depending on us to continue with this storyline. The story that began in 1918, the story of Cathedral in the Pines.